Hello there. Back in December, an insider at Valve has said that they have an idea they are happy to make Portal 3 around. This is by no means a confirmation that Valve will make Portal 3, as it is purely an idea, and Valve has never made a game with the number 3 in the title. The closest we have to that is Half-Life 2 Chapter 3, which was planned, however, cancelled, and then there was Half-Life Alyx, though it takes place between Half-Life 1 and 2, thus is not a true third game that takes place following the second. But let's suppose that Valve does make Portal 3. What could they do that will be different from the first two games? The following script contains spoilers for the end of Portal 2. Skip to this time to evade spoilers. Why yes, let's milk the antagonist of the second game and gloss over how a temperamental core managed to go from space back to Earth, conveniently showing up precisely where the third game takes place. Sure, Valve can do whatever they want with Portal 3, and if they do decide to bring Wheatley back to the game, that's their choice. But it will be difficult to explain how Wheatley, a small robot, has managed to return to a post-apocalyptic Earth just to terrorise Chell or whoever the player plays as in Portal 3. There isn't much I can think of in terms of storyline based around Wheatley that isn't all that different to the start of Portal 2's game, so probably this idea won't happen on the basis that it is too similar to the previous games. Some spoilers for Portal 2's co-op mode. You may not want to skip this because it is not the main game mode, but you can skip to this time. At the end of Portal 2's co-op mode, you and whoever you're playing the game with free a whole load of humans which have been preserved deep in Aperture Science laboratories. This is a whole load of potential storylines that could be explored in Portal 3. Think how the Sonic Adventure games, I think, had a whole storyline for each character. Maybe, I don't know, I haven't played Sonic Adventure. But I guess this could be done if GLaDOS managed to refrain from killing them all within a week. Or at the very least, try to make the test chambers ever so slightly safer so that there is a lower chance of people dying a violent Portal-related death. But hey, who says that GLaDOS didn't make an error in recording the dead test subjects, and perhaps one managed to escape, and that test subject is the protagonist of the third game. It could very well be the case that Valve has come up with something so entirely different, no one could have predicted it happening. Maybe Portal 3 isn't necessarily Portal 3, but rather a spin-off with a tie-in to the Half-Life franchise. This crossover may be what Valve needs to make another fantastic game that will be played for years. We know that the Half-Life games and the Portal games are in the same universe, since Black Mesa is the direct competitor to Aperture Science, and Black Mesa is mentioned in the Portal song Still Alive. It takes two, but with portals. Unlikely considering co-op only games aren't that popular, but if it had both couch co-op support and online co-op support, like Portal 2 co-op had, it would be great because then it would be most accessible for all. You wouldn't need to try and organise a time for someone to be in the same place as you once a week. You could be playing co-op with a friend or a relative that lives in an entirely different country. Again, I'd say that time travel is unlikely to happen, since there already is a fantastic Portal 2 mod called Thinking with Time Machines. Valve could promote the mod a bit more, or hire the developers of the mod to work on a potential Portal 3 game with some element of time travel, in which case players could use portals to travel between multiple time periods within Aperture Science history, solving puzzles in the past and future to uncover some more secrets about the company. This sort of thing was done in a sense in Portal 2, where the game did have you play through some older test chambers which had some older pre-recorded messages from Cave Johnson. I think that VR support, however, I left this for last for good reason, because this is most likely to happen out of all the ideas that I just mentioned. Valve is innovative, known for fantastic games with a dedicated fan base around each of them. Look at Team Fortress 2, still being played. It's been 15, 16 years since Team Fortress 2 released, and look at more recent AAA games in the same genre: Halo Infinite, Battlefield 2042, Overwatch 2. Those have all failed miserably, but Team Fortress 2, when the summer update came out a few months ago, that had higher Twitch viewership than Overwatch 2, a game that released, I don't know, a couple of weeks, months before. I don't know. I don't keep up with these things, and I can't be bothered to research them at present. Half-Life Alyx was a VR-only game, which I'm sure brought an incredible visual experience to the Half-Life franchise. And so Valve has done VR before, and it is possible. And that is possible. Especially for Valve, which, a while ago, made a VR headset, the Valve Index. VR would immerse players into the game, whether or not they're playing as Chell or as another protagonist. First-person perspective is necessary for a game like Portal, and Portal has been entirely a first-person game. Players in Portal rely on spatial awareness and problem-solving skills to navigate complex test chambers. It would be interesting to see how VR controls for the game would be developed by Valve. It would be nice to have motion controls. Will Blaster support anyone? The way which in VR the players would have to reach out and place portals in a three-dimensional space would make gameplay more immersive, and if Valve does it right, more intuitive. In VR, players would also be able to physically interact with objects in a slightly better way. Pick them up, throw them through portals. Lots of puzzle solving capabilities here. Imagine what GLaDOS would have done. This adds a new layer of realism and almost tangible feedback into the game. Zero gravity could also be conveyed in VR. Imagine almost looking down through a portal into an endless abyss, or floating through zero gravity environments. These experiences will feel fantastic in virtual reality. And if Valve decides to include a co-op mode, VR could help facilitate real-time communication and coordination between players. Gestures, voice commands, and a shared physical space could enhance teamwork and make cooperative gameplay even more engaging. Take that, Zark Zuckerberg. VR also allows for intricate environmental detail. Imagine how foliage could be put on in old, deprecated, derelict test chambers, and imagine being able to see and read clear fine print on posters and documents. Look at the visual fidelity improvement Portal got when RTX Remix support. Some test chambers could also use VR to engage with physical motion, the player physically ducking, dodging, maneuvering through portals. In conclusion, if Valve for whatever reason does decide to make Portal 3, it could be that we get a new protagonist and antagonist, since, in my opinion, the stories of GLaDOS and Wheatley have inevitably run their course, with their storyline written with Portal 2 being the last game in the franchise. The first Portal game was very much an experiment in terms of Valve, and from what they've learned from Portal 1, they made massive improvements into Portal 2. Portal 2 has a lot more content, multiplayer, technically, and seemingly a much higher budget. If Portal 3 had VR support and was developed by Valve from the ground up, it could make the game an instant classic. But that's not all Valve could do in the next couple of years. If you want to know more, click the video on the end screen card now.